going on? My name is Mike. Hey, I want to talk to you for a minute. Let me tell you about myself though first. I am a portrait artist, a branding photographer, a public speaker, and I'm a writer. Okay. So, what I want to talk to you today about is the power of your story. When you're branding yourself, that means like getting your reputation out there. It's so important to use the power of your story. Let me tell you a couple stories. If you were driving down the road and somebody pulled out in front of you, if you're anything like me, you'd be so angry, especially if you were like on your way to work or you had to be somewhere. Somebody pulls out, gets right in front of you, you'd be so angry. But all of a sudden, if they rolled the window down and it was somebody that you knew and you were good friends with, your anger would turn to, hey, what's going on? Why don't you pull over? I haven't seen you in a while. So the fact that you know them and you know their story, it changes everything, doesn't it? Okay, number two, and I might have to look at my notes, hold on. Number two is, there was a guy, and he was on a train, and he was sitting there, and his kid was running all over the place, and he wasn't watching his kid. You know how it is when you're in a public place and somebody's kid is screaming and running around like crazy, and you're like, why will they not correct their kids? Well, I don't know if you've ever been in that situation, but I've been in that situation a whole bunch of times. Well, anyway, this guy's sitting there, and he's just like, kind of out of it. He's not correcting his kid. And this guy's sitting next to him, and the guy is getting angrier and angrier that he's not correcting his kid. And finally, he's like, what's the matter with you? Why aren't you disciplining your kid? He's running all over the place. And the guy looks up, the father, and he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, I just came from the hospital, and they said my wife's got terminal cancer. She's got like 6 weeks to live. And I was just thinking about, how I was going to raise my kid. So when the guy heard that story, he went from anger to empathy and like compassion. It's like, oh man, what can I do for you? So when he knew his story, it changed everything. Okay, one last story. One time I turned on America's Got Talent, and this girl got up there, and she was probably 16, 15. She had short black hair, and she was about to sing. She got up on the stage, and they asked her, like they do, hey, what song are you going to sing? And before she could say it, somebody said, you look like Audrey Hepburn. That was a actress that always was known for short hair. And she said, yeah, I got short hair, but it really wasn't my own choosing. And somebody said, what do you mean by that? She said, well, I got ovarian cancer. And everybody's like, she goes, yeah, I got ovarian cancer and I had to have chemo. And as a result, I had to shave my hair. It was falling out. But now it's growing back, but it used to be really long. And they were like, oh man. I said, well, what song are you going to sing? She says, I'm going to sing, This Is My Fight song. And now everything came together, like they're getting to know her story. She sings the song beautifully. She gets the golden buzzer by Simon Cowell. And she goes through not only to the next round, but also to the finals. Okay? She didn't win it, but she did very well. Now, she had a beautiful voice, don't get me wrong. But it wasn't like the best voice in the world. So I have to ask myself, if she wouldn't have told her story, would she have ever seen that stage again, except for that one time she sang? This is what I firmly believe. I believe that your story will take you beyond your talent. Your story will take you beyond your talent. That's the reason why it's so important for people to know it. Your story will connect you with your target audience. Your story will connect you with the people. They talk about how you have your tribe. Not everybody's in your tribe. But if you just keep being you and being authentic and telling your story, you will pull to you the people that are supposed to be with you. That's what some people believe. I think there's truth to it. Another thing, your story, and it's kind of weaved in and out what we just talked about. When you tell your story, it allows people to see themselves in you. One time I was doing a vision board class. That's where you take poster boards and you have a lot of cutout magazines and patterns and different things. And they usually do this at the beginning of the year. And you cut them out, and somebody gives you instructions, and you sit in a room. We were in a room with like 10 different people. So 10 people have a poster board, a vision board, and they have a whole bunch of magazine clippings. And you put things on the board of like what you want to do that year, kind of like if I wanted to go to Greece, I would put a picture of Greece. If I wanted to be a leader, I might take a picture of somebody speaking before a group or something. Well, I wanted people to discuss at the end. I wanted the groups or the individuals to tell why they had what they had put on their board and what it meant to them. And I looked over at this one girl, and she had like it seemed like a dark figure on her board. And I was like, it wasn't uplifting. I said, "Why did you pick this for?" And she said, "Well, I just came out of a really dark depression, and I put it on this board to symbolize that I've come through it, and I'm never going to go back there again." And when I heard that, it made an instant connection because I've dealt with depression before. And when she said that, I was like, before I could even think of what to say, it just came out. I said, "You are so brave. You are so brave." Because most people wouldn't be that real to admit something like that to you. But this is what I want to tell you. Use your story. When you're branding yourself, in any situation really, use your story. And look on America's Got Talent, they always let them tell their story. The guy that won, I think a year ago, he was a magician. He had been a huge, I can't remember what they call it, like a concert piano player. And something happened to his hands where he had to have all the surgery done on him. So as a result, he couldn't play the piano anymore. So he ended up doing magic. And he started practicing magic all the time. And people were like, "I can't believe you were so highly esteemed as a concert pianist. Now you're just there with a deck of cards in your hands. You're like a bum. You're like a bum." But no, guess what happened? He practiced and he practiced and he practiced and he got excellent at it. And his gift brought him before great people. And then he won it. So he won $1 million. So in his case, his story and his talent got him somewhere. See, it's a lot of times your story, this is good, listen to this. A lot of times your story will open up the door for you to show people your talent. Did you hear that? Your story will take you to a place before great men where you can show them the skill that you've been practicing. So it's important to know your story, but also to be practicing your skill. So when it opens the door, you'll be ready. Well, as I said, my name is Mike. A lot of people know me for portraits and branding photography, but what I've done lately is I put together, during the COVID-19 thing, I put together an online store that has a lot of images that are like landscapes, mountains and fall settings and different things like that. So if you go down in my description, you're going to see where it talks about my online store. Go there and check it out. And if you like something, purchase it. Anyway, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. And when you come here, you're always going to hear things of motivation, encouragement. I'll talk to you about branding, and I'll talk to you about photography and videography sometimes. So that's what you're in for. So I appreciate you coming, and you have a great day. All right. Till next time, you have a good day. And tell your story. Don't be afraid to tell your story. I'm excited at what's going to happen. There's somebody watching right now. When you tell your story, it's going to open up a door for you. And you're going to go to a place. It's going to be like something you've never seen before. Trust me. And when that happens, I want you to message me and tell me about it. All right. You guys have a good day.